colors. Yeah. Nike Elites from like middle school for me. God, that's so weird that was not a pivotal point of your development, like the highlighter yellow Nike stuff.
I remember it. I bought some highlighter orange stuff for my Jackie Moon costume for Halloween one year, but it wasn't serious.
Well, it's like kids used to wear like literally highlighter yellow head to toe.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous.
Well, my generation, we used to wear Jinkos.
Yes, that's right. You've shown me pictures.
I can literally still fit my entire lower half in one pant leg. Or
the NBA jerseys and the shorts that like reach past their knees. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
I think I still have pairs of shorts that go past my knees, like that had to have been to my ankles.
At the time.
So
does pants.
Yeah. Really, really long shorts. And one.
Oh my God, and one.
It was huge.
In Walmart?
Yeah.
It was like an accessible basketball brand. So it blew up. Anyways.
Yeah, some poor fashion choices. But it's always funny because then we'll just look back on this shit. And
we're like, God, why did we wear that?
Why did we wear that? Like wearing clothes that didn't fit. Like my shoulder seam would be like here and stuff like that. And it's like oversized. And I saw like oversized shirts are coming back for girls, especially in CrossFit.
Yes. In the gym, in general. Gym culture is kind of brought back. Little shorts, big shirts.
Yeah, which then you just think the girl's not wearing pants.
Yes.
So I'm not sure what we're accomplishing there, but fashion trends are amazing. Honestly, we'll probably leave that in because it's just me and Piper here today.
Corey's in Florida?
Yeah, somewhere thereabouts on vacation. So not really sure what we're going to talk about, but we'll figure that out as we're going. I do have a simple ask, and that is make this the most watched episode, just so Corey feels bad about himself. I would say he would do it back to me, but he won't. He won't remember to get the mic out and schedule all this stuff. Not that he can't, but he won't. He's not that motivated to beat me on videos, maybe just workouts. So hopefully they're having a safe trip. I just got back from vacation. I just want to thank everybody that chipped in, either cleaning, coaching,
living in his house.
Yeah, watching the house and playing with my dog. Whoever did whatever, thanks, appreciate it. Came back from the gym. Honestly, wasn't that bad. It was pretty nice to walk into. I think the last time I went, I came back and got back in that night, and I was just like, what the crap happened in here?
What the crap?
Yeah.
Joe's gonna start taking out all the cuss words out of his vocabulary.
Trying to be better on this video. It's reaching millions of kids.
Yeah, Corey and I were talking, he was like, you should just do the laundry since you're living in his house. I was like, okay, I'll just run it, I guess, in his basement.
Yeah.
So.
You did it too? I think Julia did it one day.
Oh, did she?
She told me.
I did it Monday.
Yeah. So I normally do it every other day. It seems to be enough, but some days there's more. So we got a couple questions on the board. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really prepared to discuss most of them. First is goals for the gym. Still working on that. I mean, I would break it up, and we can go into this longer term, but just in general, I'm going to break up goals for the gym in between the next 20 months. And then after that, in the next 20 months, to simply get through and pay off my loan. Once that is done, a couple other things fall off my debt sheet, and then we can start talking about some bigger, cooler changes that will be exciting. But for the next 20 months, it's try to grow as much as we can, get as many people in here, and just honestly make it through the next 20 months. They're going to be hard, and go from there. So, but I'll go more in depth in that when we've got Corey here. Obviously, I think he'd want to be a part of that conversation. Pros and cons of caffeine was another question. I would just say never, ever drink caffeine. It's so terrible. It's awful. Don't do it.
It's addictive.
In all seriousness, and again, Mason sent me some stuff to read that I haven't gone through yet. Maybe I know it, maybe I don't, but I do want to still give it a look before I comment. Andrew Huberman, his podcast, episode 2, they talk about caffeine, how it works. I thought it was very cool. Not necessarily related to exercise, but somewhat. And I thought that was a really cool talk, so I'd recommend that if you're really wanting to know right off the top of your head. Again, he talks about how caffeine really just parks in the receptors of your brain, that basically other things park there and recognize fatigue, and make you tired, and caffeine just goes and blocks it. So you're not getting the signals from your brain that say you're tired. And then when the caffeine wears off, that's why you get the crash, because all those fatigue signals go and then park in your brain. People are going to have different caffeine sensitivities. I had a DNA test. Cue the Lizzo song. The result was I wasn't a bad bitch, but it was that I can drink like 4 times the recommended amount of caffeine and have basically no effect.
I know, like, the usual healthy, like, cap or, like, what to shoot for maximum is, like, 400.
Yeah.
But depending on mass, it can be a little bit higher.
Yeah. And mine's crazy. And I say I can drink the recommended. That doesn't mean it's good for me, right? I'm still going to have elevated levels of creatinine and possibly kidney, liver issues from processing that stuff. But it doesn't affect my ability to sleep or stay awake largely at all. And he gave an anecdote, and he was basically like, if you can drink caffeine and fall asleep within an hour or 2 hours or 4 hours or whatever, he's like, most people need 6 to 12 hours to get the caffeine out of their system, and to where they can receive the tired signals again. I can drink this and I could fall asleep before this episode was over with Piper sitting here talking.
That's rude.
Yeah. And listen, how many times I've fallen asleep in here while class is going on?
That's true.
I'm just in my office, or I'll lay and do some yoga and fall asleep in the middle of class. Like,
Yeah.
it's not an issue for me. So again, caffeine is one of those things that's going to be unique to you.
Yeah.
Talked about that more than I planned to, but there will be a larger episode on that, but check out Huberman's episode.
And then you can go into whether it's just like isolated caffeine, kind of like coffee, where that's really the only supplement in it, as opposed to like, what's in a Ghost Sour Patch Kid, you know?
What is in a Ghost Sour Patch Kid? Canapure.
Probably adenine, guarine, taurine, all those
Carnitine.
things.
Yeah, he was the most recent episode I watched on Huberman. He was kind of
Ripping into it.
ripping into taurine. I think a little bit.
It's kind of more of a highly debated one. I wrote a paper on it last year.
Yeah.
For my class, I don't remember nearly as much as I should.
Yeah.
Relevant topics. Forget about it.
Yeah.
You know. Instead, remember everything Star Wars.
I was going to say science, no. Anecdotal evidence, yes.
Yes. But everything can be all right in moderation. You just don't need to have like more than one a day.
Yeah.
Maybe more than 3 or 4 a week.
Yeah, what is it? Everything in moderation, including moderation.
Yeah. Moderate your whole life.
Yep.
That's exactly what we said for nutrition too.
Yeah. It's good and bad. It's going to affect people differently.
Just be conscious of what you're taking in and how it makes you feel. If it makes you feel like poop.
And I would also say, like, you got to start talking about isolating variables.
Yeah.
If you're not, if you have allergies, right, they tell you to super clean up your diet and then add one thing in back at a time and see how it's affecting you. That's a general, easy,
It's part of their nutrition
cost
course,
way to do whatever you need to do to find out good or bad effect. Wearables like Whoop are going to help you make that not just anecdotal evidence.
You're telling me beer isn't good for me?
I know, right?
It doesn't make me feel good?
Yeah, you're going to see your HRV, heart rate, respiratory rate, all those things change. Especially if you're using the journal, it's going to give you lots of data points. They've increased the robustness of that and analyzation. At first, I thought it was just kind of lame, but they had to collect aggregate data.
Yeah.
And then they had to analyze it and then find a way to present it. So there's some lag time in there. But I got my monthly performance assessment yesterday, and there's some actionable steps in there. So using things like that, and then just going further beyond and tracking your own things. So today is the last day, honestly, for the CrossFit season for 99.9% of CrossFitters.
Oh yeah. Age group quarterfinals.
Yep.
Today?
So the age group online quarterfinals in today. If you didn't see my story last night, it's like a 5-minute talk from this guy Brian Friend, basically ripping test 2 for the age group.
Is that the bench?
No, so test 2 was a 10-minute AMRAP of 6 chest touching wall handstand push-ups, which I don't know why they changed these from wall facing. The name, it's still the same standard from what I can derive. 9 GHD sit-ups, 12 box jumps, so it's 10-minute AMRAP. And then it went into part B, which was a 1 rep max clean.
Yeah.
Apparently, listen, I don't love the test. Apparently people have lost their minds over this, and I get it, but also like one of the things was that nowhere on it did it say that there was a minimum work requirement on the AMRAP.
Yeah.
But if you entered 0 reps, you couldn't submit a score for your clean. CrossFit came out late last night, said it was an error. They didn't really communicate that out as much as I think they should have. It kind of just became a note on score submission. They said basically they'd help you submit your score after the deadline, yada, yada, yada. I think some more communication is necessary when you mess up.
Yeah.
You can't just, hide it under the rug and hope that it goes away. I'm personally annoyed with CrossFit. I know myself and Corey have sent at least 3 or 4 messages over this season asking questions. We haven't gotten a single response. So that's frustrating.
Standards and like judging.
Yeah, judging, submission standards, uncommon movement clause questions. If you're not going to be available and have all your team during your busiest 3 weeks available to answer quick questions or to create a live frequently asked questions document.
At least an AI that will respond to you.
At least, something. To not get a response at all is just...
It's disheartening.
It's pretty poor. I pay to be a part of this, and as an affiliate owner, and I pay to be a part of this as an athlete, and it was lacking. They, when they send out their form for review, it will definitely make its way into reviewing their performance that I'm pretty unhappy with. But anyways, back to this question. So a lot of people are like, well, I got 0 reps, so how do I submit my clean weight? How in the world did you qualify
if you can't do a single
wall facing handstand push-up?
I mean,
and I get it's for age group.
Same for teens as well.
I don't know. And
so that one would be a little bit more like, I get it.
Yes, but we had to do wall facing handstand push-ups in the open. And how?
Because you probably made it that far.
Right? How, if we're setting this test so that only the top 10% qualify, how were people in the top 10% that couldn't do that?
Didn't make it that far.
I really don't know, and that's the problem that really bothers me. Is I didn't get to the wall facing handstand push-up, but I can do them.
Yeah.
I didn't really get to the ring muscle up, but I can do them.
Yes.
What did we test during the open? I don't even care about the age group on the quarterfinal. What did we test?
We had an athlete here who made quarters who didn't get either of those things. Who probably, I don't know.
And I've seen it a little bit more in the women's division.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah.
But I'm in the 40 to 45-year-old division.
Did Mr. Halliburton do these?
Yes. I judged 2 of them. He went over to Varus for one of them yesterday, the rope climb one. Apparently, Varus has a 15-foot touch mark.
That's cool.
I don't know where or how, because we measured our highest point on the ceiling. It's just over 14 foot 6 inches, which is so ungodly annoying. I want to message CrossFit and be like, can I just do 1 extra rope climb? Right? I think
to accumulate for everything?
Seriously, it's not an advantage, and then I at least get to work out in my own gym. That's another thing that bothers me about and then they've got 12-foot rope climbs in the older division for this test.
13-foot.
Well, and again, I can make a 12-foot mark, but
just do 13.
We couldn't have just made it 12-foot rope climbs. Most gyms are going to be able to like a standard rig is 12 foot. Like
Yeah.
you're going to be able to have most gyms host that. Just do the math. I get a 12-foot rope climb is exponentially easier than a 15-foot rope climb.
Yeah.
Literally, not just like the 3-foot difference. And it's a whole
It's like, what,
different
a
extra
pull
pole.
and a touch
It's
wheel?
honestly about 30%, 40% harder because of the extra pole at the top. I get it. I really do. But you also got to understand who's doing these workouts. Like, you've got a program for your affiliates, so we're not having to go to the one affiliate within a 50-mile radius that has a 15-foot rope and availability on a truncated timetable to get in and do it. Super frustrating. I don't understand how we have athletes in quarterfinals that can't do a common movement.
Or it's like, I get like submitting your score, but like if you get 0 reps in that workout, you're not
What's the
moving
point?
on.
Yeah, what's the
You're
point
not
of submitting
moving
your
on.
score anyway? And I like, you paid $50.
Like 50 is so much
It
money.
is like, at least give me a T-shirt. I pay $60 if I got a T-shirt.
Yeah, right.
Something that you can only get if you
Qualify
qualify.
for quarters. Yeah.
That would be badass. And this was my recommendation last year. It's like, hey, like $20 for the Open, not bad.
That's all right.
Yeah. And I still think you should get something for it, but whatever. They've started with their levels and some digital swag, and I get all the kids care about crap like that.
Not really. It's on the CrossFit website.
Well, I don't know. And eventually they'll make it, I'm sure, more accessible or someplace or somehow link it to your sugar water push press or
Yeah.
whatever.
Can I
They'll
sort
find
of-
a way to like,
You're a certified CrossFit trainer.
yeah, get a little bit more swag for people, and that's cool. But like for $50, I need something. I need something tangible, just not just a spot on the leaderboard. And again, I pay $60 if I get a shirt that's like, hey, 23 quarterfinals athlete.
Super easy, by the way, to pump out a shirt.
Yeah, not that hard. You got to partner with Noble, like.
It'd just be the same as the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
Quarterfinals.
Yeah. So I think that's a real simple idea, but people are paying $50, so you want to be able to submit all your scores.
Yeah.
If you don't submit all your scores, then you probably don't get a worldwide ranking or it tanks or anything like that. So I get being upset from the athlete's perspective. I don't understand how our qualification wasn't good enough to where we have people that just can't do a movement. And also they added, which I didn't know about, you have to write your weight that you're about to lift on a max lift and like make it visible in the camera. So you can't just load the weights. So like I'm judging Mike yesterday and he, opens it. I'm going to lie about weights just in case somebody's submitting scores, but like opens at 225, right? He's got to write that down, show it in front of the camera. And then we add 25s on
5
there.
minutes is such a small amount of time.
Yeah, and it's
to show.
275, and so you got to write that and then hold it and put it in the camera. It's like this is another level of distraction when I'm trying to be laser focused on a workout. And
He
also,
has to do it, or can you as the judge?
so Jordan did it. Fortunately, Jordan and my wife were here to help load plates while I was judging, and Jordan would flash the screen. But it's like we just had a max lift in the Open. You guys didn't even cover this.
Yeah. I guess because there's too many athletes to do it. Yeah.
They didn't seem to really care about the
But
too many when they required a 50-foot
Shuttle runs.
footprint.
They didn't have a max lift for regular quarters, right?
No.
Okay.
And that was another thing. I saw some people, complaining about that there's better ways to test strength than a 1-rep max event. No.
Because I coached him in the 1-rep clean that we did in class. And
Oh.
he built up to the heaviest barbell he lifted since he got injured. So
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah, he needs to work on his clean, and he admitted it. He
knows
just hasn't
that.
been working on it. I don't really care that the test was a 1-rep max clean and they didn't do it the same way. Though you bring up an interesting point. It's like, what do we always talk about CrossFit? Our needs differ by degree, not kind. Mm-hmm. And then indies do one workout, team does one workout, age group does one workout.
Why don't you just have quarters be the same?
Yeah, are we really practicing what we preach here?
Just change
we
the
talk
barbell.
we talk about how it's just scaled, not changed.
Yeah.
And then in the second phase of our test, we change it, not scale it. Mm-hmm. Seems like we kind of lost the mission there, boys and girls. I don't understand why the individual tests weren't accurate. Now here's what I'll say. Why did they do it? Why do you think they did it? Why do you think they changed the tests?
Because Masters athletes are bitches.
Whoa. Youth over here trying to get smacked.
No, I just know that sometimes when we post about Masters workouts for our competitions, people will be like, well, why is it still the same for Masters? Because you can do it.
Yeah, and so
I think maybe
that
they
brings
get a
up
lot of complaints.
Topic that annoys me, which we can touch on. I think it was solely so it's not a competitive advantage.
That's fair.
If it's the same workouts, now Masters athletes have 2 weeks to know and prepare for the test.
That is true.
Now, every master athlete has the same advantage or disadvantage, and they're not competing against individual athletes. And if you're scaling the test or modifying it slightly and not creating a whole new test, I don't think it's a competitive advantage.
But it could be fun if they did it like the same weekend for like Corey and Mike to be able to do a quarters workout at the same time.
And that'd be fun. And the reason they don't is because some Masters athletes try to qualify as individuals. Like Mike could have, because he qualified for both.
Yeah.
But he chose not to. I don't think that's a large enough issue to prevent it. I think
people will declare whether or not they're going to be a Masters athlete and an individual.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times people just do the individual workouts even though they qualify for something else, just to have fun with their friends.
He did both.
And to test before it happens.
Yeah.
So I know that's what they use as their reason. I don't know that it's a good reason.
Are the teens workouts any good?
They're the same as Masters.
Just different weights.
So teens and Masters is the same workout but scaled differently. What we talk about in CrossFit.
Yeah.
Team was different and individual.
Teens ones were brutal. How are you judging 4-person in sync shoulder to overhead? You're looking at your peripherals for on the shoulders and above the head. There's not much more you can do. You're trying your best.
Yeah.
That poor judge.
And we're not talking about games level athletes, judges. We're talking about judges.
Like me. I'd stress myself out.
Regular gyms. Yeah, so left some things to improve on. I mean, that's gonna be the case every year. It's frustrating from the sport. And you touched on our Masters athletes, and I'll just tell you, as a Masters athlete, it really bothers me going to most comps because most regional comps program for Masters athletes like they're fucking power lifters.
Yes, they'll have a heavy barbell.
They're gonna have heavy weight and no gymnastics. And I cannot stand that. It drives me absolutely bonkers because I'm a Masters athlete. I didn't somehow get old man strength when I got here.
You're a gymnast.
I'm still gymnast biased. And so, I don't even care about winning. I honestly go, yes, I want to win in a competition. But I go to test myself and to show off my training.
Yeah.
It's the same as having a vacation scheduled to get you through the work week.
Yeah.
I schedule competitions because it helps my training go.
Advertising for you.
And it's just fun. Winning makes it more fun, but performing. Yeah.
Joe, we're third. Oh my God, so funny. I haven't been in the gym for a month. Joe's about 11 beers in before our final event, and we finished. And I'm looking at the thing, and I'm like, "Holy shit, Joe, we're in third right now." When final scores got put in, we were in 5th out of 35 teams. But, oh my God.
Definitely was not
Woo!
Definitely was not a high effort day for me.
It was so much fun.
Also,
Anyway.
I'm pissed about Floaterfest. I was sure that my wife was going to agree to compete with me, which is why I let you sign
I've
with
already
Josh.
signed up.
And so I was like, texted Jess as soon as you guys asked me, and I was like, "Hey, would you do it with me?" She was like, "Absolutely not." And I was like,
Why?
she just doesn't ever
That's
want to
fair.
compete, which I get it, but I was like, it's not a competition.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sucks. Some of those events are brutal.
Yeah, and some of them are, but we wouldn't have to do them that way.
Yeah. Or you could just not do them. That's
yeah.
the crazy thing about Floaterfest is that you can miss events.
You just not care. And the weights are a little too heavy, otherwise I'd ask Penelope to do it with me. Because I think it would just be fun. Again, I'm going out there for that competition to have fun.
Yeah, that's what we did last time.
The fact that we
So
were
funny.
anywhere
Jordan
near
was so
placing.
mad. So I was like, oh my God, we're in third right now. And I see a couple of our other people's heads pivot and they're like, how are you guys in third? I was like, I don't know. The workouts were favorable for us, so that was all right. It was pretty good. If you're not good at like a minute max calorie row, it's gonna be a bad time for you. But that's all right for us.
It's all short little workouts, and we're both pretty good in the water, considering.
And then you meet a whole bunch of people, and you're like, oh yeah, we're from CrossFit Aggregate. So then when they're in Columbia, they drop in here, and
and that's the same with every competition. The meeting people and having fun part. But yeah, I just wish Masters comps were a little more balanced. I haven't really poured over the age group online quarterfinal workouts, but just seeing some of the other comments come in from that feels like they've got the same kind of thoughts on it. That it just wasn't as balanced as the individual tests were.
It always feels very upper body heavy for Masters athletes.
Yeah.
Maybe that's wrong, but because I feel like they do less obviously there are box jumps in that workout, but I feel like it's less kind of that movement.
Yeah, it's the same way like we scaled comps. Just it ends up just destroying their legs.
Yes.
And that's because, and this is what Corey and I have talked about and tried to work around, but everybody programs for RX and then they scale for scaled.
Yeah.
And through down, and it's like, why does scaled? Why can't they have a different competition? I understand that's completely conflicting what I just said. But
Masters
not
is not necessarily like that new to CrossFit thing.
Well, and that's where I would say is that we're talking about
first comps.
Different levels of athletes that haven't had a filtering process to prove that they can do what we're about to do. Whereas in the open and going to quarterfinals, we had a fair test.
Yeah.
And we had scaling of the levels, so you could still do the workout. And then we had the test. Why are the tests changed now at that point? Because we're not testing skill levels, we're talking age and capacity.
Yeah.
That you may not just have because of that, not because you're not training. And that's the difference between me saying that they shouldn't do it while I'm saying that I do program differently for scaled. And it's so scaled can get a more balanced test than I think a lot of competitions give them.
Yeah. They typically can't do the things as opposed to like can do them, don't put them in high volume. Which is what really
like
happens
every
to
comp
athletes.
takes out pull-ups and puts in ring rows, which are impossible to judge. But we started doing
and
kettlebell
also so
swings
fatiguing.
or ski or
allowing the option of pull-ups even.
Yeah.
Or maybe one of your partners has pull-ups and is down to do them.
and just doing a lot of different things like that. So they're still getting a good workout. They're still hitting upper body, stuff like that. But it's not the exact same motion. And so, that comes through testing, seeing what the response was to our RX or intermediate athletes and seeing how do we get scaled to feel that same way.
Yeah.
And that may mean creating a completely different workout. We are doing okay on time. We can talk about this other thing. We'll probably have to hit it again because I don't think either of us are overly prepared.
No. I did not look at these in advance.
Yeah, I just kind of haven't vaguely remembered. Scheduling rest days. All right, Piper, how do you determine when you're taking a rest day?
Usually I either hurt really bad or I haven't taken one yet that week. So like they used to fall on a Sunday. It doesn't anymore because I have to be here. So it might fall on like a Thursday or something because
she has to be here.
Because I choose to be here. Sorry, Joe. It usually falls on like a Thursday or something when I'm like, yeah, shit, I've been in the gym for about 9 days straight. I should probably take a second. Or like, I have so much stuff to do. Like, let me just take a day where I don't have to try to budget. Like about an hour and a half, couple hours to get here, be here, leave here, shower,
So you just take out the shower and you can get way more activity in.
It's so gross. You have good water pressure though, by the way, at your house. That's how I schedule.
If people just tuned into that part, it's gonna come off wrong. She stayed at my house while I was out of town.
I fed his dog, and my dog. But yeah, I usually take one a week too if I have something pressing, I'm out of town, whatever, maybe my body really, really hurts.
Yeah.
Then I'll take a second one. But
yeah, I think
I try to aim for at least one a week, which is what everybody should aim for, unless your name is.
Yeah. So you touched on something about just being you'll realize you've been in the gym 9 days in a row. And given my job and schedule, I'm here literally every day. So that can be a blessing and a curse because
So I gotta work out, yeah.
I'm here every day, so I might as well work out. But if I'm not really feeling it, I'm here every day, so I can do it tomorrow. So for me, I don't have that like opportunity cost analysis really on being here and not being here. I'm here.
Yeah.
And then I just realized that can be a pro or a minus, just depending on what I'm wanting from that day.
Everybody knock on Joe's door whenever they hit something outside of programming. And be like, hey, you want to do this with me?
Yeah, right.
Turns out Joe has already tried to PR a split jerk 3 times that day.
Yeah. I've used stuff like data tools like Whoop. I think a lot of times you can use it to convince yourself no matter what you want to do. I honestly,
I should work out.
Yeah, I'll use it. A lot of people use it to motivate themselves to train harder. I will use it to shut down. I had to start. I stopped from my Whoop for a little while because it was becoming a crutch to determine what I would do.
I'm only 60% recovered.
Yeah. And so I start, probing and figuring out how my body feels before I even start looking at my data. So it needs to be an internal evaluation before we use external stimuli on stuff like that. So you could use things like that. CrossFit's going to recommend 3 on, 1 off. Competitive CrossFit is going to do 3-1-2-1. So 3 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 1 day off.
Yeah.
Generally, that gives you a Thursday, Sunday rest day. They tell you to take one of those to be a complete rest day. The other one could be active recovery, playing, learning new sports, swimming. That's the general overall CrossFit recommendation. When you're starting, I'd probably say every other day.
Oh my God, yeah, every other day when you start. You wake up the next day after your first CrossFit workout.
And that's why,
dirt.
It's honestly, when you first start, it's easier to come back the very next day.
Yeah.
Because most times the 24 to 48 hour window is way worse. But you have to come in within 48 hours or we won't see you again.
I think we did a pretty bad heavy workout, and I just remember not really being able to walk on day 2, but it being or the next day and it being fine. And then I woke up the next morning, and I live on a 3rd floor apartment, and Merlin's taking off, and I'm like, up the stairs.
If you don't get in within 48 hours of your first workout or a super hard workout,
something where you lunge.
We're not going to see you for a little bit because it's going to get worse.
We're going to do a mile walking lunges again?
I don't know. We didn't do it last year. I'm down. I didn't train for it, so.
I didn't train for it. I just did it. I had to go bowling that night, and I remember I couldn't
it wasn't awful.
No.
It wasn't great, but I don't remember this.
It just takes forever.
Yeah, it just takes forever. But it's something we can do again for fun.
There's so many people who did 2 of the 3 laps. I was like, why didn't we just do the
just
3rd lap?
Lame. One thing that I'll tell people a lot is I call it the Triple H. Charlie Rosanowski was the first guy that kind of told this to me, but if you're not happy, horny, or hungry,
take a rest day.
Yeah, you need to be at least 2 of the 3. And if you're not, then you probably need a rest day. That's an internal evaluation. Happiness could be an external metric, but I guess all of them could be, but we'll stop short of being descriptive there. That's a quick and easy one. If you're constantly not liking the workouts and stuff like that, and that goes into more of a plateau, just do something you really like.
Yeah.
Choose your favorite workout that you love to do. If I'm in a rut, I'm going to bench press, I'm going to curl.
Acid bath.
Yeah, do acid bath or Fran. I know it's everybody's favorite. Things like that. Getting more time outside.
Seasonal depression is real, so
Yes,
don't hate yourself for coming in less in the winter.
And I watched Huberman. There's opposite seasonal depression.
Yeah.
There's people
Some
that
people prefer
summer
winter.
actually depresses them. It says way more rare, but I was like, whoa. I didn't know that could be a thing.
I would say that's more antisocial people. People who don't do things over the summer. Especially maybe if you're in the South more as well. If you're Australian, it's summer depression because their summer is winter.
Well, yeah, but their winter is summer.
I know. But
I had a coworker go to work over in Australia for a little bit. I definitely had that problem, like remembering every time we talk.
Yes.
And they're like, it's so gorgeous here. And she's like, it's terrible here right now.
Yep. Because they swim on Christmas. It's hot.
It's all because their toilets flush the other
Oh
way.
my God. Anyways, I was obviously in less this winter. It's just hard sometimes. And then you also have a lot of family obligations.
Yeah.
So don't beat yourself up for like not being here. I try to at least be here 4 days a week. And then maybe the next week I'll be here 6 days. Then after that, 5. Just find a kind of minimum that you're okay with and don't let yourself fall into a rut of like, oh, I'm just tired, I'm not going to go to the gym. At least show up and sit on a bike, or you're going to see the energy from people who want to be here and be like, okay, maybe I'll take the next class. Like,
and that's what I tell a lot of people when they're dealing with an injury or something like that. I'm like, keep your routine. Mm-hmm. Continue to show up, ride the bike, just come in here for social hour.
Yeah.
That is...
Joe is always down to talk.
That is positive for your emotional and physical state, to have connection and to not isolate yourself. So I'm a huge fan of just because you can't train doesn't mean you can't be here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of value to be picked up, talking to people, encouraging people. That social interaction is huge. Riding a bike or whatever your current injury allows you to deal with.
Missing a day, missing a few days, a week, 2 weeks if you've had surgery, whatever.
Yeah.
But then after that, know your goals and that you want to be here again. And so keep that always on the back of your mind to be like, okay, like I didn't go for 3 days. Like I should go to the gym. I need to go.
And let's see. So I think it was Dorian Yates said there's no such thing as overtraining, only under recovery. So there's no hard fast rule on when to schedule a rest day. How hard are you training? What's your recovery look like? Are you hitting your sleep? Is your sleep good? What's your resting heart rate? How are those things going in general? But you need to know that the rest day is actually when growth occurs. Mm-hmm. It's when your body is repairing the damage, doing all those things. So they're super necessary, but also how hard are you really training? Mm-hmm. And that's relative to you, but I see some people resting more than their output suggests should be necessary.
Which is also what tends to happen with nutrition. You perceive that you burn more calories than you actually do.
Yeah. And I'm not telling you that I mean, I guess I am telling you, but sometimes your effort doesn't really match what you think your effort was. Mm-hmm. So
it's the unfortunate side effect of the ego that
yeah,
tends to come with this sport.
You're really not going hard enough with an hour training a day.
Yeah.
To rest 2 days, to take 2 full day rest days a week.
Yeah.
And listen, I don't know what your life stress is. I don't know all those things. I'm only seeing the variable of how hard you're training in here. And this isn't a specific answer to the person that asked the question. I don't even remember who asked it. It's just simply saying what I see in here a lot is I think rest is important, but you have to have the effort first.
Yeah. Work hard. Red line.
Yeah. So, we could get into supplements and all that other stuff.
Jeez.
But there's another.
It's gonna be like.
And I'm not going to, but there's another quick answer to that, and that is don't major in the minors.
Wow.
Supplements and stuff like that is the last thing you need. Sunlight,
That's
sleep, water.
It's the tip of the pyramid.
Yeah.
Even at like Supplement Superstore, who are trying to sell you supplements.
Yeah.
They're like, well, your diet comes first. You got to fix what you put in: nutrition, greens, balance, everything. Like even they are like, hey.
And I would even say before that, fix the stuff that's free. Sunlight, water.
You photosynthesize.
And sleep.
Yes.
If
sleep is like
those 3 things aren't literally 100, don't even waste your money on anything else.
Sleep is like the best supplement you will ever have in your entire life. If you get restful, proper sleep for however long you're supposed to get it based on your DNA and who you are as a person, it differs for everybody. Usually between 7 and 9 hours. Oh my God, dude. You will see crazy performance.
Yep. So that's
It's our shoebox.
yeah, that's the gist of the
soapbox.
Yeah, definitely soapbox. We need to take rest days.
Damn, maybe I need a rest day. We're gonna go to bed on time.
The only thing I would see from this question that I think is really all that beneficial is rest days aren't a bad thing. Rest days are necessary. It's when the gains can take place. You could schedule them. You can go intuitively.
Do them when the fuck ever, like I do.
Yeah, and I'll generally schedule mine for Thursday, Sunday. Thursday's my active recovery. I'm trying to get back into swimming on Sunday, which means I have to have a full day off someplace else. But honestly, I hit Monday so hard.
Swimming again, gonna break you?
Yeah, and then Tuesday will be soft.
Yeah.
And then honestly, I just don't have it by Wednesday. Whether that's energy, whether that's I've kicked the can down the road on some things I need to do as an affiliate owner, and those just get overwhelming, and I just have too much anxiety, and I've got to spend some time in the office on Wednesday. But that's just kind of the way my schedule flows. And then Thursday, which I had intended to be a rest day, now isn't because I took Wednesday off.
Yeah.
And because I got caught up on all my stuff, I'll generally train Thursday, a little bit Friday, Saturday when we have comp training. Otherwise, I'm not going to get anything in. And then Sunday, I don't really get anything in. And honestly, which is odd, I don't really train Saturday or Sunday, but those will be a lot of my higher strain days as I'm in here cleaning or rearranging.
Yeah, or yelling.
And so those are things that affect your body that, again, it may not be training, but it wasn't a rest day. So, all right, well, based on the time, we've got class getting ready to start, so we'll end it here. I think
Everybody wear your jean coats to the gym.
Yeah, I think we touched on like 19 topics and covered none of them. So
we'll revisit that. Yeah, we'll revisit that for sure.
Like and subscribe. Make this our most watched video so we can say, suck on it, Corey. All right.